Okay, well, we have in the midst a potentially good game coming out. Now, I'll be a bit first to admit, I'm not the biggest Battlefield fan. I played some of them, and I don't know. It's there's so many military shooters, but at the same time, I've been looking from the sidelines and seeing that this is a pretty sweet looking little game they're coming out. And the shtick they're using is beautiful too. They're just going full military shooter. They're just not messing around with weirdness and wokeness. And well, I mean, they're still probably going to have characters a certain way. But, anyways, the idea is that they're wanting to make a game for people, for the players. And that is an admirable, very admirable thing to do. You know, yeah, I don't know. Battlefield 2042 and the flaundering sizes, they need to make a good open military shooter again. And the fact that they incorporate physics into all this is pretty exciting for me too. I mean, I love playing around with physics, and this has been their whole push is that it's like, oh, you could blow up a plane and a plane flies into a building and blows up the building. That's pretty cool. Now, the biggest correlation and selling feature they're using is that it's not going to be like Call of Duty, which has fallen into some Beavis and Butthead infested Seth Rogen attacking Mickey Minaj and Snoop Dogg shitfest. So that is a good selling feature, and it looks pretty good. And you can see they're kind of like they're showing off some of the tech. I love this stuff. I'm not gonna play it just in case who knows with copyright, but you can see a lot. They've released a lot of material, and they're like giving players access. I mean, look at this shit. There's these people saying like like Battlefield 3 live stream, Battlefield 6 beta prepping. There's a lot of hype for Battlefield 6, and it's coming out in like October, so it's like 2 months away. Like it's here basically in gaming terms, and with a very not besides Metal Gear Solid, Snake Eater, then what, and maybe Borderlands 4, there's really not a lot of games coming out, and they may redeem themselves from the battle. I'll remember the Battlefield 2042 shitfest. It was just an absolute nightmare for them. And in the world of military shooters, isn't it ironic how we went from military shooters being just like the staple of everything, and then now and it's like people wanting to like make more, and it's like now Rainbow Six Siege comes out and Call of Duty and like Call of Duty Warzone, let's make something different. And now we've looped back to just a straight up military shooter, no nonsense type of game, is and with these you know 2010 piss filter games, this is now the what people are after. So, is I think that we've been deprived of good military shooters for so long that yeah, like it's such a tried and true tested formula that people want to go back to, and what they've shown, it looks pretty slick. I mean, like you're like shooting around and falling around, everything's blowing up around you. It'll work, and if they release what they've been showing, it's gonna do really good. And now all the Call of Duty Warzone bros will move over to be called Battlefield pros. And like I don't know, they're showing off a game that what I think that is really wanted in today's world is just like physics, gunplay, good action, stringent set of rules and vehicles, and like vehicles are always fun. Like if you add a military shooter and it's got vehicles in it, it's gonna be sweet if it all works really well. And what we've seen is some cool tech with how it works, and the building destruction. I love that stuff, man. I love that stuff so much. Physics is so fun to play around with, and yeah, I think that they got a banger on their hands. We have to see when it comes out. That they're releasing maps and modes, and I think if you added like mod support to this too, you could like play different matches with bots. Everybody wants to, of course, be on. A lot of people who play these games want to be like, let's go on and shoot ourselves up the leaderboard. You know what I mean? And win at them. But I think how cool would it be? You add like alien mod, and it's like it adds xenomorphs around in here, and you have to fight them, and the trucks blow up, and that kind of stuff is cool and exciting. But if this becomes this really good game, it would be really fun just to load into a multiplayer match, blow up buildings, and fly helicopters into bridges and take out the bridge. That would be so cool, and I would actually I would actually want to play something. It's rare for military shooters now to come out and people will be like, "Ooh, that looks really cool! I can't wait till it comes out." So I feel I'm rooting for the Battlefield community because after so many L's and the franchise just floundering, they kind of did what they needed to do. They just like, let's just make a military shooter. This is what people want. Let's try and polish it. Now this thing is still look at that. Two guys like walking on a plank on planks that are falling down or something. But yeah, it's cool stuff. And when I see this kind of stuff, this makes me really excited because it's showing you the underside of how all this is going to work. And this is some pretty cool technology, and I love checking this stuff out. So the Battlefield devs have really knocked it out of the park here. Now let's just see as the game comes to beta and launch how it's going to go. I'm kind of thinking that it's going to be good and that they knew that they had a problem in games where you have all this weirdness and they're like, is this called Warzone? I don't really play these types of games, online type types of things, but there was an era in gaming, and that's people still exist. They just want military. Okay, they don't want Nicki Minaj or Shark Man or the futuristic, like warp guns and Nicki Minaj, and like they just don't want that in their game. That is, I'm sure there's an audience that's for Ninja Turtles in a COD game, but I come from an era where I remember, and it's nice to have these games because sometimes you just want just military, man. Just kit your guy out, like assault rifles and then like pistols and like you're shooting tanks, and say just give us that, and that will work. That will work to their benefit. Oh, God, look at that. Collab skins, yeah. I think that they realized with this operator thing, you get this thing where it's like sometimes everybody wants to just be an unknown soldier in a game, just a generic trooper dude soldier. And when they're making, like your operator Snake Delta and like all this weird stuff, it takes you out of that immersion. I always liked Arma 3. I've played so much Arma. And we hope for a game that's like Arma but with more advanced graphics because Arma runs like absolute dog shit. But Battlefield 6 looks good. And if they nail this could be the de facto winner of kind of the military shooter realm, and surpass like a kind of a Warzone 2, so to speak. Is there a Warzone 2? I think there is a Warzone 2, but I don't know. Anyways, I know that the Battlefield, like it says, Battlefield 2042 on the Battlefield 6 gameplay thing. Thanks, YouTube. Really good one. But as you can see, please don't hurt me. As you can see, that people are like really, yes, tactical sledgehammer. Hold my copy of Battlefield 3, a single tier. We're back, brothers, and that's what they're calling it. Is that like there's such a gaming demand for people who just want like military stuff. You know what I mean? Um, the usually Limp Bizkit. That's their whole shtick. This whole shtick is like 2010s. I was alive during that 2010 run, and it's just like every game that came out was like this. There's huge audience for this stuff. There's just like a absolute massive audience for just like, let's just get a military shooter, guns and tanks, you know, warfare type stuff. And yeah, I mean, like they're doing well with what they have. King of the Hill game modes. You know, I always wish that there was something that was like Unreal Tournament 2004, but just strictly multiplayer and military stuff. Graphics look great. Graphics look absolutely spectacular. And you know that all the main streamer shooter runs are just going to be doing this 190. It's going to take over kind of that sphere because I think it looks good, and I think that it has some potential here to be like that kind of like de facto winner of the COD wars, so to speak. Unless they mess it up, you know, you got nice weighty feeling weapons, like great vehicles, wicked physics. Like that is a formula of perfection there. And if they make that and it works, Battlefield 6 is going to be spectacular. It truly is going to be spectacular. Then again, we never know until a game. Games are somewhat different than movies. Is that games can feel different. Movies, if you get a movie trailer, you can see early stuff of a movie. You get a general idea of how hyped and how good it's going to be. Games are different because sometimes once you're put behind the driver's seat of a video game, it just feels different. You know, it doesn't. It can look good, but it doesn't. You know, there's not a lot to do, and yeah, it's like these modes are not really fun, and there's lots of bugs and wonkiness. But from what they showed, it's great. And yeah, they brought back ripping off dog tags, and that this is what they're doing. They're playing in heavily to people who want this, want what they want. What a crazy concept, hey? Making what players want. Like insane. Like can't believe that developers could be so weird. And after such an L of Battlefield, you know, the Battlefield 3s and all the other stuff, they're really or what is it, Battlefield 2042, and there's been a lot of them, and I've never really played a lot of those Battlefield games, but this might be a great starting point for someone who doesn't really play his best multi. This may be the best multiplayer trailer I've ever seen. It is good. It is showing. It's just like showing off, just like, hey, look at this. This is awesome. Let's play it. You know what I mean? So I mean, they're doing some good with Battlefield. I played Battlefield Bad Company when I was 22 years old. I'm 38, still waiting for Battlefield 6. Hmm. Yeah, because I mean that was a big thing with Bad Company. Is there's lots of cool physics and being able to like if you go up to like a building and use a grenade on a building side of the building wall, blow up the side of the wall, and then go in and storm in and can take out some of your opponents. Just think of the gameplay possibilities there. If you can drive a tank into a building, break the building down, the building falls over and kills a bunch of players inside. That is cool. That is some cool crap. It's EA. As the EA, the EA is this massive company, and they have the potential to be like, yeah, like I mean, let's just like here, wait a second, okay, guys, all this shit isn't working with all our other teams. Let's get this passionate guy who's played Battlefield, loves Battlefield and plays military shooters and like an expert in games. Let's let him design the game instead of all these corporate dummies who just like walk around talking about pie charts all day. It's like that. How'd that work? That could work. Like they're all the EA people sitting around in the fucking goddamn meeting, like having a discussion, and they're like, hey guys, I have a really good idea today. For so long we've made video games using the direction of this guy named Josh, who's that like barely plays video games, but he's the multimillionaire who races his sports cars on weekend. why don't we not let him make the game now? And why don't we take a bunch of dudes who do nothing but play military shooters all day, and we give them the reins of it? You know, let's do that. That might work. It could work. Stayed for the vibes. Haven't felt this feeling since Battlefield 4. Haven't had an FPS fully satisfied. I mean, that's what FPS players want. They want satisfaction. You gotta have a slick, smooth. You gotta have a nice assortment of maps and weapons and modes. You gotta have some cool military gear and stuff. And you know, it's a wondrous thing when you nail that. When you nail that aspect, it's sweet as hell. You know, you get the custom silencers, you customize your weapons, you know, put on different scopes and attachments, and then go into battle and save your loadouts, and then like customize your kit for your guy, and like wear a cool helmet with a sweet little scarf, and like they just like people just want that, man. And yeah, Battlefield looks sick. This could be the game of not the game like I mean rarely these types of games win the game of the year, but this could be for many people like this stuff was so cool. This all breaking down and doing this. Physics in games is so cool, man. I just love when physics in games are done right. Yeah, it's like what a crazy concept. Let's just make something that's cool. Um, and yeah, and it will very quickly win this huge audience if it's sweet of people who just wanted this kind of military shooter. Just turn your brain off, sit down, and just blow shit up for hours on end. Um, there's clearly some major hype around this. Tactical Brit. Yeah, I mean people gearing up for this one. So I mean when you have hype, hype is building through the roof for this game. You see it all over your feeds, and I think it looks really, really cool. You know, like how cool would it be to blow up with a, you know, plane explosive, blow up that bridge, and it falls down and takes out an enemy position down there. It's freaking sweet. And that's just what they got to do, you know. So like you're fighting through Brooklyn and like in the mountains, that mountain gameplay looked really stellar. The graphics are really good too, and yeah, it just looks like a slick experience. And I think Battlefield 6 is the right direction for gaming. Now let's just make sweet stuff. Such a difficult concept, and yeah, and like Call of Duty definitely took a major L with this kind of stuff because yeah, I'm sure there's an audience for that types of stuff. Call of Duty, Modern War, whatever, and you know, Squid Game, dude. But like sometimes you just want gritty, military, grounded in realism, totally believable. You know, neat stuff that you can just play around with. Look at that, man. Imagine, remember those days? Remember those days of just like tactical gear and setting yourself. That's sweet. That's sweet. That's kind of what these military shooters kind of live for. Is that that's kind of why they're popular in the first place. It's just military stuff, yo. Just absolutely military. God, Seth Green or Seth. What's his name again? Seth, not Seth Green. Seth. I don't know. Whatever. He's an absolute hoser. That dude. God. Kevin Smith. That Blunt Man and Chron. But yeah, I don't know. Battlefield 6 looks great. There's super hype for it. It's a great direction for gaming. Just make good stuff. But it's not out yet, and who knows what it's gonna be like what's its reception gonna be like. And that 2042 was a massive failure because I remember a lot of people were hyped for that, and then it came out and it was just all over your feeds constantly how terrible it was. And stuff like adding bots and having mods would be so sick. So, oh yeah, I'm gunning for Battlefield 6. It looks super sweet, and it kind of just came up out of the blue, and now it looks amazing. See this homepage for it. Actually, is that 18? That's 18, isn't it? Oh, whatever. Born in 1974. Yeah. Try beta, and there's beta people. Is it possible? Could EA have finally figured out how to make a good game? They've done it. The EA minds actually pull it off. Well, we'll see. Lock and load available in October. That looks cool. So yeah, Battlefield 6 looks super dope. Excited to see what the community at large thinks. Excited to see kind of where we go from here for games and physics and explodey cool stuff. So, peace out.